It's looking like Anthony Edwards is having himself the solid fourth season leap that most Timberwolves fans were hoping he would, leading the Wolves to an 8-3 start this season. It appears that Chris Finch fully trusts the offense to run through Anthony Edwards, and it's looking like that's the best direction they could have gone.
Agreed. He's definitely become the clear and definitive leader of their team at this point. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns will still occasionally lead their team in points or kind of look like the leader here and there, but in my opinion, it's clearly Anthony Edwards, as it should be too. Currently averaging about 26 points per game, a new career high, 5.8 rebounds per game, a new career high, and 5.2 assists per game, also a career high, on pretty good shooting efficiency at about 47% from the field and 37% from 3 at the time of this video. And he's had 24 plus points in all but 3 games that they played so far, so pretty reliable, pretty consistent in the scoring department and also in the rebounding and assist department too. He's top 14 in scoring at the moment, had the 3rd highest plus-minus rating in the entire league up until their last 2 games here, but still has a very good plus 7.5 rating, good enough for top 19. And there's really no way to stop him at this point when he gets going. He's become a true 3-level scorer who can attack any and all areas of the court. He's averaging 8.1 points per game on drive attempts, top 20 in the NBA, and shooting 49.3% on those drive attempts, 7.1 points per game on transition opportunities, 3rd in the entire league, and then averaging 11.7 points per game on pull-up jump shots, 2nd in the NBA only behind Luka Doncic. So whatever way you want to look at it, Anthony Edwards is dominating all over the court, and he's being a two-way player at that too.
Yeah, just kind of iterating kind of what you said. He's just so clinical and precise with his intentions on the court. And one thing that's making him so great this season is just, his ability to score from anywhere on the court. We all know about his finishing at the rim basically since he's been a rookie, which, remember, he's only 6'4". We often forget that he's 6'4" because of how he elevates, but he's only 6'4", and obviously his three-point shot's still developing, getting better every year. But to me this season, his ability to knock down that mid-range and just like crazy mid-range shots too, contested, fading, just spinning off to the fade, it's just crazy. And just so consistently, it helps him break down so many defenders. And I know that most NBA players probably can shoot the mid-range well, but many don't. So just having him being able to score at all 3 levels, kind of like what you said, at just that really difficult level is just insane, let alone for someone as athletic as Anthony Edwards. And, scoring alone and improve majorly at facilitating the basketball. And to me, that's probably the biggest difference for the Timberwolves as a team. And the difference is as simple as that he's recognizing the defensive shifts sooner, and he's making that pass to the open or cutting man just 1 second sooner as opposed to last year, because that 1 second in the NBA, that's what makes the difference. And again, he seems much more focused this year, more in tune with what he needs to do as a player, what's expected of him to win basketball games, and so far he's delivering really well.
Yeah, for sure. And you can really tell it's a combination of both growth and maturity from him. Yeah, he's only 23 years old at this point, and you can tell he's just becoming better in all areas of the game, and that's obviously translating to better team success too. You mentioned they're 8-3 at the moment, very early into this season, but they really do look like if Anthony Edwards can maintain this level of production, they could be around that top 3 to top 5 seed range. Now, how far they'll go in the playoffs is another conversation entirely that I'm sure we'll talk about later, but Anthony Edwards, again, has become the clear leader of this team, and you talked about how efficient he's been too, even as a playmaker, and between him and Mike Conley, I mean, when they're only turning the ball over like 3 times a game combined and they're averaging like 10 plus assists per game, yeah, you're gonna have a pretty good offense doing that, even though you're kind of a bit limited with a non-shooting big kind of in the middle with Rudy Gobert, and then rotating and fluctuating them around a powerful word like Cat and then Gobert. Kind of limited, but when you got great playmakers like that, and then especially with Anthony Edwards, again, he can score from all 3 levels. And I like how you touched on the mid-range. Yeah, a lot of players probably can shoot from the mid-range or even do more of it if they wanted to, but I think what I really like about that, how it's become a lost art, not only from an offensive standpoint, but from a defending it too. Like, it's almost like the modern defense doesn't really even know how to defend a mid-range scorer at this point. Like, it's just kind of an awkward area of the court. Like, you're so laser focused on preventing open 3-point shots and preventing the drive opportunities and cuts around the rim. That if you have a good mid-range game, and Kevin Durant has been showing this for years now, you can dominate defenses, and Ant's kind of learning that too. And it becomes very apparent during the fourth quarter when, you don't have to rely on just getting to the rim or pulling up from three. You have a good mid-range scorer like Ant, or even, Conley too is not bad for their team, Cat here and there. But Ant specifically, there's really no way for a defense to stop him at this point. And with his current trajectory, I'm really liking the Timberwolves' outlook. Again, maybe a little bit limited from a playoff standpoint, but if Ant can keep this up, I'm really high in their future.
Yeah, and one thing, I know we're talking a lot about the offense, but defensively, the Wolves and Anthony Edwards are just much more serious, and that's obviously a big part of their record, and obviously having that number one ranked defense at the time of the video. But during the critical stops in games, every player is firing on all cylinders. They're all on the same page. You can tell they all know exactly what they have to do to kind of just be on the defensive standpoint. And I especially like how Ant has been playing in that sense. He quite literally has that dog in him and doesn't back down from anything. My favorite example being his defensive stop and offensive play during that intense game against the Boston Celtics. Ant got matched up with Jason Tatum during a crunch time of the game and basically locked him up, forced a turnover, a jump ball, and then on the jump ball shortly after, he out-hustled everyone and then led the offense to basically win the game. And to me, if you have a young star going all out on both ends like that, and they're kind of, towards the top of the league right now, that just shows a lot about their character and mentality.
Agreed, and there's really not that many legitimate two-way stars around the league nowadays. You can kind of call Tatum that and a few others here and there as well, but I would definitely put Anthony Edwards in that category. You point out that play, there's plenty more from this season, and even going back to the past 2 seasons now too. He's not afraid to take on a difficult matchup, he definitely puts in the effort, and again, big part of that number one ranked defense of the Wolves right now. And when you have a true 3-level scorer like Anthony Edwards, who's also contributing on the defensive end, and then pairing him with a defensive anchor like Rudy Gobert, which he has definitely appeared to gotten back to at this point, and then a guy like Jaden McDaniels as well, and all around they have a pretty good defense. Yeah, you're going to be a defensive juggernaut and then still very viable on offense as well. So regardless, I've really been high on Anthony Edwards this season. He's kind of gone even above my expectations, even more than the scoring standpoint. He's been a really good playmaker and doing it on both ends of the court. And if they can keep this up, I think the Wolves could remain around that top 3 to 5 seed. And regardless, I think they're surprising a lot of people right now.